Yo, Aunt B in Beverly Hillsboro, as I like to call it. See more better with freeprescriptionlenses.com. And first of all, let me thank you for your repeat business. This is probably about the 5th or 6th pair you have gotten from me, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to keep striving to make sure you're always happy with whatever I make. Today it's going to be a vintage collection. It is the RayBan 3847N, color 91224M, which is the gold. And I'm going to put transitions gray lenses in this frame. So let me take it out of the original packaging that RayBan sends it to me. You've got the, of course, the RayBan box, your Italian leather RayBan case, the RayBan cleaning cloth, and junk mail, because you just don't get enough in your regular mailbox. And this is new. I've never seen before. It's almost like a sugar packet with a coffee stirrer and all that. There's a little seam going through here. Usually it's just one solid bag. Must be something new with the vintage collection, because that is what this is. Of course, it comes with a little plastic sleeve on the left temple to protect the temples from rubbing together while it's being shipped from Italy. And of course, I'm going to put that on there when I ship to you. But this is the excuse me, the RayBan, oops, let me cover this up so I can see, because I can't see up close when I'm showing that to you. The RayBan 3847N, color 9122, which is the gold, and the 52 eye size with a 23 bridge. Now this is part of the retro vintage collection. This is back when, this is part of the Great Gatsby collection, when Bausch & Lomb owned this in Rochester, New York, before selling to the Italian company Luxottica in 1992. Classic style, and you've got the filigree work going all the way around there. Hopefully the GoPro is picking that up. But if anyone out there wants a vintage gold style, this is it, and RayBan has re-released it. Now this comes with the green lenses and a little green plastic frame going around the metal, or it's an insert going around the metal frame. And of course, transitions come in gray, brown, and the new graphite green. And I thought the green would look great in here, especially that green seam, but Aunt B loves his gray, so we're going to stick with that. So what I'm going to do is take my Phillips head screwdriver. This is going to be a little bit more time consuming because of the two screws. This is like aviator style. You have a screw in the back which adjusts the temple, and then you have a screw in the front which is the eye wire screw. And then hopefully I can loosen it just enough to get the lens out. Let's see. Well, the whole insert is coming out. Okay, that's fine. Now let's get this out. I might have to use heat. Oh, you're working me. You're working me. Let's use some heat over here. That one needs to be cut. Make sure there's no HIPAA stuff there. Heat that plastic up, and yes, that comes out. So we're going to take that out. We're going to put that plastic insert back inside the frame. And if I was smarter, I would do it with the frame up like this so I don't lose any screws. There we go. Tighten everything back down. And then normally when no one's looking, I would go ahead and take this screw out, take the temple off, and let it lay in the tray, because the last thing you want to do is drop one of these screws on the floor. So the easiest thing is just take them out completely. And I am going to be proactive this time and go ahead and use the heat. It makes the plastic a little bit more pliable, a little softer. It's going to make me do it all over again. Okay, here we go. Here we go. The good news is that's the last time. The ones that I insert will not be that difficult. Take out the left lens. Of course, you're going to get all the manufacturer's original packaging, including the lenses. Although so often people tell me just keep the lenses, donate them, because they can't see out of them anyway because they need prescriptions. Alright, don't be so stubborn. Don't be so difficult. Told you this one's going to take longer. You guys didn't believe me. Okay. So now that we have that out, I'm going to trace the inside of that plastic portion of the frame. Place that in there. But first I want to scan this number into the computer. You are Secret Agent 1031. Or as I like to say, this is my 1031 part of my 300 million volume series of making a pair of glasses for everyone in America. So stay tuned for all 325 million shows. And that's what people only get one. You know the people don't get more than one, especially Aunt B. Like I said, this is the 5th or 6th one. So let's go ahead and start. The reason why I programmed that in there is years from now, should you ever need new lenses, I can mail them right to you. But that stylus is going to go around and trace the inside bevel of the right side of the frame before we're doing the same thing on the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. You buy a genuine, authentic RayBan frame and you'll receive one free pair of clear single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. My receipt has my federal ID tax number, so if you have vision insurance or flex dollars, you will get reimbursed for this purchase. So I just cut a semi-rimless a little while ago where I traced the right lens, and afterwards on my machine it always thinks it's stuck in that mode, so I'm going to enter the bridge size, which is 23. We're going to add that in there. 52 eye size with 23 millimeters between the bridges. The vintage glasses had more of a space, so that's why it has a wider bridge. That shape comes up. We're going to go on to the next screen. Your pupillary distance is 33.5. The computer starts at 32.5, so I'm going to tap the plus button a couple times till we get to 33.5. I want to raise the optical center height up to about 22, and I'm going to go ahead and mark that. I'm going 2 up, 22 high. Now we can go ahead and get your lenses prepped. Your prescription reads minus 150 minus 1 at 102, minus 150 minus 1 at 102. Let's go ahead and set the axis wheel to that. Before we do anything else, let's add some ink. Since this is the first one of the day, we know we're going to need some. First video of the day. I cut one a little bit earlier. So it's good to be back home. Just got back from Maine. Did some great hiking. Let's put the power drum on minus, well, actually make sure it's on 0, and it is. Put the power drum on minus 150. Take the lens out, minus 150 minus 1, minus 150 minus 1 at 102. The axis wheel is set to 102. Power drum's on minus 150. We're going to take the lens out of the protective sleeve, put it in, rotate it until we get to the optical center. Make sure the spherical component of the lens is visible. Check the astigmatism. That's looking good. Put 3 dots onto the lenses. There's the 3 dots, and this is the right lens, so we're going to mark this right. We're going to do the same thing now for the left lens, which is minus 1 1/4 minus 75 at 67. Spin the axis wheel to 67. Minus 1 1/4 minus 75. Put the power drum on minus 1 1/4. Take the lens out of the protective sleeve. Take the lens out of that packet. Put it in, rotate it until the spherical component of the prescription comes into view first. Check the astigmatism correction. Everything is lining up perfectly. Go ahead and put the 3 dots on there. And we're going to label this one L, which is Latin for not right. And if you guys missed any of that, you know what's coming, you know what's coming. Let me recap. Hey, you moan, but you'll be telling that joke tomorrow. I promise you will. So I'm going to peel this. So this is a block, or as I like to call it, Jenny from the block. I need to attach 2 double-sided adhesive stickers to these, of which I've got 2 here. Put the sticker on that one side. Do the same thing now for the other. Now on the back is a little silver button that is a magnet. That's going to do its job twice today. The first time it's going to attach itself to another magnet there into the arm. Pull that off to make the other side sticky. Line up the magnet. Now the reason I put the 3 dots on the lens is that I'm going to orient them in there. It tells me that it's oriented in there perfectly. Lay out those dots. Now the 3rd dot is being blocked by this arm here, so I'm going to rotate that till it's out of the view. Get everything lined up there. The blue cross is the geometric center of the frame. Your eye is just above that in inset. So just like the crosshairs of a scope, I'm measuring vertically and horizontally to make sure everything is lined up in there perfectly. Hit that button, the arm comes down and places the block onto the right lens. We're going to do the same thing now for the lens that ain't right. Pull the paper away, make the black side sticky, line up the magnet, take the left lens. Now your pupillary distance for your left eye is 34, so I'm just going to tap the plus button one time because it goes up in 0.5 millimeter increments. It matches the same optical center height, so nothing else needs to be done. line everything up to where it's supposed to be. Hit that button. The arm's going to come down and place the block onto the left lens now. Now this is the edger. This is what costs $40,000. Well, this portion is $30,000. This is $10,000. Combined is $40,000. But this is what's going to do all the work while I run my mouth. The actual cutting wheel is over here on the far left. It's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper to grind away your lens material until it's the final size. This wheel in the center that has that channel, that little bevel, that's what's going to put the V-shaped bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and wake up the computer. This is number 1031, so again it's programmed into the computer. These are polycarbonate lenses. If they were plastic, high index plastic or Trivex, I would select that, but we're going to stay on polycarbonate. I'm not going to polish the edge of the lenses. It's a normal setting that I wish I could program out of this, but it doesn't. Even on this smart machine, it still comes up every time. I'm not going to place a bevel on the front convex surface of the lens. I'm only going to place a bevel on the rear concave surface of the lens. So that concludes your vocabulary lesson of the day. So I'm going to press that on there even firmly. I'm going to line up the magnet there into the Chuck, or by now you know I like to call it the Charles because I don't know this machine well enough to call it Chuck. I know, free bad jokes with every pair of glasses made. Hit the green arrow which is start. The door closes, the clamp shuts very noisily. And then the lens is going to be traced by two wide styluses, making sure that it's large enough to fit into the frame. And you can see as it's going around tracing the shape of the right side of the frame. And then the old carpenter saying measure twice, cut once. It's measuring the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel so you have the least amount of edge thickness showing. So in just a moment the lens will drop down onto the cutting wheel. Now if you see light flickering in the background, there's water there to catch the optical sawdust. Polycarbonate lenses cut dry, where plastic, high index plastic and Trivex lenses cut wet. So, meaning the water sprays onto the lens for the duration of the cutting cycle. Now the water will spray onto the lens for the last 20 seconds on a polycarbonate lens just to wash away any optical debris that you may begin to see forming on the edge of the lens if this door was cleaner. Remind me to clean this door sometime. So, again, your lenses are made out of polycarbonate. These are the Essilor brand of Essilor owns Transitions. These are the Airwear polycarbonate. Essilor calls Airwear because they feel they are light as air. The TR stands for Transitions. The Roman numerals for 7. The GY is gray. HC means hard-coated, so it has a very strong scratch coating on top of that. But your lenses are made out of polycarbonate. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than plastic. It is virtually unbreakable. These are high-impact ballistics grade lenses. The same lens material that our soldiers wear overseas in combat zones to protect their eyes from debris and flying shrapnel. So you have that same amount of impact resistance. You also have 100% UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. Now you see, if you notice, your lens is completely flat around the edges. It's now just double checking itself where to place the bevel, and it's going to get the V shape. It's going onto the middle wheel. Should you be able to see any of that? Remind me, mental note to clean the door so you can see better. But you do have, as I was mentioning, the 100% UVA and UVB protection. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin there in Beverly Hillsboro, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. Unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays that need to be reapplied every couple hours when you're under exposure to the sun, this is permanent and never needs to be reapplied. So the water has begun spraying onto the lens. It tells me it's in the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle. In just a moment, a little lever comes out. At the end of that lever is a spinning wheel, something you would find on a Dremel tool. It's just a fine grit sander, and that's what's applying the safety bevel to the rear surface of the lens. Safety bevel just means that it's smoothing out any rough portions left over from the cutting cycle. Should any portion of this lens protrude from the back surface of the frame, which it will not, and come into contact with the cheek, which it will not, it'll be nice and smooth. But the other reason I do that is that because I will be pushing the lens into the frame, and I do not want any portion of the lens to mar the frame's finish. So I just want to make sure I use my thumbnail. There's a little bit left right there. Scrape all that off, let it fall on the floor. Yeah, you can tell I've been working now. Now that we have a cleaning crew, I promised my wife with my old lab that I'd keep it cleaner. And I did, honey, but now that I'm in the new lab, I have a cleaning company that comes every night, so hey, they're going to clean, empty the trash cans, wash the toilets, scrub them. I'm happy here. Vacuum the floors. It's nice. It's very nice. So I'm going to loosen that up just enough that hopefully I can push that in there. We're going to tuck the lens in at the outside corner, then use my thumbs, go all the way around until the lens pops right in. Do a little bit of the old righty-tighty. Always tightening the eye wire first, making sure that closes all the way, and then we'll close the temple hinge, and we'll double check that a little bit later. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and start cutting the left. Flip that over to L, press that on there, hit start. After we put the lens into the Charles, the Chuck, the Chuckster, the Chucky baby, I will now have a contest for you guys to rename the Chuck. And it's going around tracing the left side of the frame now, making sure that it's large enough to fit, and just like before, measuring the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly precisely where to place the bevel so you have the least amount of edge thickness showing, of which with your prescription in this frame you got none. You got none, you hear me? Although, is that plastic in there? Nah, let me keep working. Oh, these aviator style with the 2 screws. I'll tell you, I've gotten spoiled just cutting the... Alright, let's loosen that some more without losing the... There we go, now it pops in. Those plastic frames will spoil you by just cold mounting the lens right in there. I actually have to use a screwdriver, and still at the bottom it's not perfect. Aunt B, you're making me work for this one. But that's alright. That's alright. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra in the beginning. I know it's corny, but it's true. You know, if you live nearby, I could fix that later on. But since this is all mail order, I've got one chance to get it right, and I'm going to. So if it takes me a little extra time, forgive me. I shouldn't have to apologize, but I feel the need to for making you watch my terrible videos longer. Of course, I dry that off, stick that on there. The new stack, old stack. That's 11 months worth. This is 2 months worth. We're growing, we're getting there. Ooh, the bottom fell off. Let me see if I can stick that back on there. Come on, stay on there, bottom. So, let's come back down here to the lensometer. Spin the axis wheel back to 102. Put the lens in above that black dot. And read the power, and I am getting minus 150, exactly halfway between 1 and 2. That's because the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R, and starts at 0 and goes up in 0.25, essentially quarter increments. So we have 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 0.1, 1 1/4, 150, so you're on the 6th rung of a ladder. You have 6 steps of far-sighted correction. You are nearsighted with your glasses off. Everything up close is great, but the farther away you hold things, it starts to get blurry. So the farther away you hold it, you need 6 steps of far-sighted correction. Now, once everything is the correct size, you have an additional 4 steps of astigmatism correction. Astigmatism is what makes 6s and 8s look alike, or the letters P and F. You have 2 curves, a spherical curve this way, astigmatic curve this way. That's how we line up those 2 curves to make everything nice and crisp. I'm going to turn that fine-tune knob to 102. If a straight line is 0 to 90 to 102, we're going to go just past the 90 to about 102 to make everything nice and clear. Let's check the astigmatism correction. And we're at minus 250, exactly halfway between 2 and 3. So remember how you add 2 like signs together? If someone had borrowed $1.50 from you and then they borrowed another $1, they would owe you $2.50. That's where we're at, $2.50 in the red. Now the left eye, you only need 5 steps of far-sighted correction and only 3 additional steps of astigmatism correction. We're going to end up at minus 2 there combined. So let's see. Let's come back down here. Let's take the lens out of the chuck, or the soon-to-be renamed other tool. Run the thumbnail around to make sure there's no optical sawdust, or schwarf as it is known. Do a little bit of lefty-loosey now. And try to pop this in without moving that plastic piece at all. There we go. Before tightening, let's make sure everything's lined up perfectly. And it is. The right lens is always the harder. I learn as I go. That's right, even after all these years. Still crazy after all these years. Don't worry, I won't quit my day job. So let's take the block off, dry that off in my hand-approved drying method. Peel the sticker off, add that to my stack. Come down here to the, let's put the magnet back. Turn the fine-tune knob to 067. Put that in above the black dot. Read the power, and we're getting minus 1 1/4. 1 tick mark away from 1. 1 1/4. Now you have 3 steps of astigmatism correction. Let's see the second curve on the lens, and we end up at minus 2. Look at that. I couldn't have done a better job if I'd cut these lenses myself. Your pupillary distance for your right eye is 33.5. For your left is 34 for a combined value of 67.5. Turn the card around so you can see that on there. Place the PD stick against my thumb on your right lens, and then when we look at the left lens, we're getting right between 67 and 68, so that is perfect. There is no half millimeters on here. Now this is the portion in every video that, as you have learned, that as I clean your lenses, I mentioned there's free shipping anywhere in the US, and Hillsboro is in the US, Hillsboro, North Carolina, that is. But when you get these in the mail, there's a small chance these could fit too loose or too tight. However, there's a larger chance, actually an 80% chance, that one side is going to sit higher than the other. That is because 80% of people have one ear that is higher than the other, and because of that statistic, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. But I'm going to get these in standard alignment first, also known as the 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set them on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. When I say wobble, I'm part of that 80%. When I take mine off and press down, they wobble on the counter, but they sit level on me. For those of you keeping score at home, and if you've seen my pictures on Instagram for while I was on vacation in Maine at Acadia National Park, a lot of the times I was wearing the RayBan 2132 New Wayfarer in color 789, the blue-orange. Let me put these back on so I can see what I'm doing, yo. Flip that over, press down, there is no wobble, close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly, and they do. Now, as you've noticed, you're going to get a RayBan cleaning cloth. I'm also going to provide you with one of my own premium microfiber cleaning cloths. I field test every one to make sure that it works, so when you get these in the mail and you see a wrinkle, you know that it works. You can't say that it doesn't. So, this is what your lenses look like clear. I'm going to go ahead and activate them, meaning I'm expose them to a strong burst of ultraviolet light. And as you can see, if that will stay in there, come on, stay in there. It takes about 30 to 45 seconds for transition lenses to darken. It takes a little bit longer when you come back inside, 45 seconds to a minute 15 to return back to virtually clear. Now, Ant B, pay attention. All transition lenses will get dark on day 1 and continue to darken every day for the first couple weeks they're exposed to the sun. After that, they will work for years with maximum performance. The only time they won't work is if you're behind the windshield of a car. Your windshield absorbs the sun's UV rays that would cause your dashboard to crack from sitting in the sun all day, and that's why transitions don't get dark in a car. Now, they're also temperature sensitive, meaning they will get darker when it's 85 degrees and below than they will when it's 95 and above. But I remind everyone, when it's 100 degrees outside, you're miserable, they're miserable. Nobody works 100% when it's 100 degrees outside. So that's the first time they've been activated. As I continue to run my mouth for another minute, they'll return back to clear. That is the Transitions Gray lenses that are in there. Again, you can get them in brown or green. They're also available in Extra Active, which will get about 30 to 50% dark behind the windshield of a car, as well as darker in hotter weather. It's designed for people who are extra active outdoors. So if you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram as freeprescriptionlenses.com, on Twitter as freerxlenses. If you have any questions, you can email me directly through the Contact Me button on the website, or you can, some people said they have a hard time getting through, so you can email me directly at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Or better yet, leave a question or comment in the video, in the comment section below, so other people can learn from your inquisitive nature. So that's it. Aunt B, again, I appreciate you getting the 5th or 6th or 7th pair. I don't even know at this point. You think I could keep track a little better. I would have done my homework before the video if I hadn't just gotten back from vacation, but oh man, I'm still in vacation mode. So, hiking 10 miles a day in Acadia. Anyone who's out there listening to me, if you haven't been to Acadia, go. Just go. Any time of the year is great. Well, particularly when it's You know, the summertime when it's 70 degrees year round. But it was in the 50s and 60s while I was hiking, and there were some days I was doing 10 miles a day, and you wanted a little bit cooler, but it's just so beautiful. The New England autumn colors are just amazing. And this is my 9th year in a row going, and I'm sending out an invitation. Anyone who watches this and want to go next year, Columbus Day weekend, come on. Come with me. I know some trails. There's easy, moderate, and strenuous ones with iron rungs where you have to climb up the sides of cliffs. It is doable. I'll do one with you. I say that now. I've never done one yet, but I'm going to get in shape to do that. But come on. I know some great restaurants, great hiking trails. Come meet me and spend a week in Acadia. You won't regret it. So again, the lenses are continued to lightning. Aunt B in Beverly Hillsboro, again, as I like to call it. Where's my flashlight? Hope you enjoyed watching as I cut prescription lenses with transitions gray for your RayBan 3847N color 91224M, which is the gold in the 52 eye size. And everyone else has got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.